My life began in Germany, filled with dreams and youthful energy. I was always curious about the world beyond my home. This curiosity led me to study and then to work in media. I never imagined where this path would eventually take me. My early career was exciting and very public. I became a television presenter. This role put me in front of many people. I was young and eager to experience everything life had to offer. The world of entertainment seemed glamorous and full of opportunities, a whirlwind of activity. I became one of the first presenters for MTV Europe. This was a huge step for me. It was a new channel, bringing music and youth culture to millions. I interviewed famous musicians and celebrities. I traveled to amazing places for my work. Life was fast, loud, and always changing. I enjoyed the thrill of live television and the connection with the audience. It felt like I was at the center of a vibrant, modern world. I was living a life many people dreamed of, yet something deeper was stirring within me. The world of television and journalism was demanding. It required a lot of energy and focus on external things. I was always looking for the next big story, the next famous person to interview. My identity was very much tied to my public persona. I was Kristiane, the MTV VJ. This brought recognition and many exciting experiences. But deep down, I started to feel that something was missing. The constant chase for the next thrill began to feel a little empty. I wondered if there was more to life than fame and entertainment. Looking back, I see that this period was an important part of my journey. It taught me about communication and connecting with people. It showed me the highs of worldly success, but it also prepared me for a different kind of search, a search for inner peace and a deeper meaning. The glitter of the entertainment world was bright, but I slowly began to realize that true happiness might be found in a different light, a light that shone from within rather than from the stage lights. This realization was the first quiet step towards a profound transformation. My life took an unexpected turn when I met Imran Khan. At that time, he was a famous cricket star. He was also known for his thoughtful nature. We met through mutual friends. I did not know much about him beyond his sporting achievements. Our first conversations were interesting. He spoke about things I had not thought much about before. He talked about his culture, his faith, and his plans for the future. This was very different from the usual conversations I had in the entertainment world. Imran Khan was not just a sportsman, he was a man with a deep spiritual side. He introduced me to ideas from Islam. He spoke about the meaning of life and our purpose. He talked about God in a way that was new to me. It was not dogmatic or forceful. It was gentle and thought-provoking. I found myself listening intently. His words planted seeds in my mind. I began to question my own beliefs and the way I was living my life. He was a charismatic figure, but it was his sincerity that truly impressed me. He shared stories about his own journey and his growing connection to his faith. He spoke of the peace he found in prayer and reflection. This was a stark contrast to the often chaotic and superficial world I was a part of. Meeting him was like opening a door to a new perspective. He encouraged me to read and to learn for myself. He did not try to convert me. Instead, he simply shared his own experiences and understanding. This approach made me curious and open to exploring further. This encounter was a significant turning point. It marked the beginning of my spiritual quest. Before meeting Imran, my focus was mainly on my career and the material world. After our conversations, I started to look inward. I began to search for something more meaningful and lasting. His influence was profound, not because he told me what to believe, but because he inspired me to seek truth for myself. This meeting set me on a path that would eventually lead me to embrace Islam, a path I could never have imagined before. After my conversations with Imran Khan, my curiosity about Islam grew stronger. I started to read books about the faith. I wanted to understand its teachings and principles. I began with the Quran, the holy book of Islam. Reading it was a profound experience. The words seemed to speak directly to my heart. I found answers to questions I had carried for a long time, questions about the purpose of life, about God, and about my place in the universe. The more I read, the more I felt a connection. I also started to meet other Muslims. I spoke with scholars and ordinary people. They shared their experiences and their understanding of Islam. I was struck by their kindness and their strong sense of community. I learned about the 5 pillars of Islam, the declaration of faith, prayer, charity, fasting, and pilgrimage. Each pillar seemed to offer a practical way to live a more meaningful and connected life. I was particularly drawn to the concept of Tawhid, the oneness of God. It felt simple, pure, and deeply true. The journey of learning was gradual. It was not a sudden conversion. It was a slow unfolding, a gentle awakening. I spent a lot of time reflecting on what I was learning. I compared it to my own experiences and my previous beliefs. I found that Islam offered a comprehensive way of life. It addressed not only the spiritual aspects, but also the social, ethical, and personal dimensions. It felt like a complete path, guiding towards inner peace and a harmonious existence with the world around me. As I learned more, the initial fears and misconceptions I might have had about Islam began to fade away. I saw its beauty, its wisdom, and its emphasis on justice, compassion, and knowledge. It was a faith that encouraged seeking knowledge and using one's intellect. This appealed to me greatly. The entertainment world, which once seemed so important, started to lose its allure. A new kind of excitement was building within me, the excitement of discovering a profound spiritual truth that resonated deeply with my soul. This was the true beginning of my transformation. My spiritual journey was not just about reading books and talking to people. It was also about experiencing the world in a new way. Certain places became very important to me. They helped me connect with my growing faith. Pakistan was one such country. Through Imran Khan, I got to know its culture and its people. I saw the beauty of its landscapes and the warmth of its hospitality. It was in Pakistan that I first heard the call to prayer, the adhan. Its sound moved me deeply. It felt like a reminder of something ancient and sacred. Another country that holds a special place in my heart is Turkey. Istanbul, with its magnificent mosques and rich Islamic history, was captivating. I would spend hours in places like the Blue Mosque and Hagia Sophia. I felt a sense of peace and awe in these sacred spaces. The intricate art, the calligraphy, and the spiritual atmosphere were inspiring. These visits were not just tourist trips. They were opportunities for reflection and for feeling closer to the divine. The beauty of Islamic architecture spoke to me of the beauty and order of God's creation. Bosnia also left a lasting impression on me. I visited after the war. I saw the resilience of the people and their strong faith. Despite the suffering they had endured, their spirit was unbroken. This was incredibly moving. It showed me the power of faith to sustain people through the darkest of times. Their stories and their unwavering belief in God taught me a lot about patience and trust. These experiences in different Muslim countries helped me to see Islam not just as a set of teachings, but as a living, breathing faith embodied by diverse people. These travels were more than just physical journeys. They were journeys of the heart and soul. Each place offered new insights and strengthened my connection to Islam. From the bustling cities to quiet mosques, I found reminders of God's presence. These experiences enriched my understanding and deepened my conviction. The world seemed to open up in a new way, revealing layers of meaning I had never noticed before. These sacred spaces became anchors for my faith, places where I felt a profound sense of belonging and peace, guiding me further along my spiritual path. Section 5. The Heart's Desire, Preparing for the Hajj Pilgrimage. As my understanding and love for Islam grew, a deep desire began to form within my heart. This was the desire to perform Hajj, the pilgrimage to Mecca. Hajj is one of the 5 pillars of Islam. It is a journey that every Muslim, if able, should undertake once in their lifetime. The thought of visiting the Kaaba, the most sacred site in Islam, filled me with anticipation. It felt like a calling, a spiritual culmination of the path I had been on. Preparing for Hajj was both an exciting and a serious undertaking. The preparation was not just logistical, like getting visas and booking flights. It was also a spiritual preparation. I read more about the rituals of Hajj and their significance. I tried to purify my intentions, ensuring that I was making this journey solely for God. I sought forgiveness for my past mistakes and tried to improve my character. It was a time of intense reflection and prayer. I wanted to be ready, not just physically, but also mentally and spiritually, for such a profound experience. The closer the time came, the more my heart yearned for it. I learned about the historical and spiritual importance of Mecca and Medina. These are cities where Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, lived and preached. Walking in his footsteps, performing the same rituals that he and millions of Muslims before me had performed, seemed like an incredible honor. The idea of joining a global community of believers, all focused on the worship of one God, was deeply moving. I felt a sense of connection to a vast spiritual family, transcending borders, cultures, and languages. This was a powerful feeling. The decision to go for Hajj felt like a natural progression in my faith. It was a response to an inner calling that had become increasingly strong. My previous life in television, with its focus on fame and external validation, seemed so distant now. My priorities had shifted completely. The desire for worldly recognition was replaced by a desire for closeness to God. Preparing for Hajj was a journey in itself, a process of cleansing the heart and focusing the mind on the ultimate purpose of existence. It was a step towards fulfilling a deep spiritual longing. Section 6. Journey to Mecca. Answering the Divine Call. The day I finally set off for Mecca is etched in my memory forever. Wearing the simple white ihram garments, which symbolize purity and equality, was a humbling experience. All pilgrims, rich or poor, famous or unknown, wear the same attire. This immediately strips away all worldly distinctions. I felt a profound sense of shedding my old self, my old identity. I was no longer Kristiane, the TV presenter. I was simply a servant of God, answering his call. The journey itself was filled with anticipation and a quiet joy. Arriving in Mecca was overwhelming. The sheer number of people, all moving with a common purpose, was incredible. And then I saw the Kaaba for the first time. It is a simple, cube-shaped building draped in black cloth. Yet it is the most sacred place for Muslims worldwide. Seeing it in person after years of learning and longing brought tears to my eyes. It was a moment of intense spiritual connection. I felt a sense of awe and profound humility. It was as if my soul recognized its true home, its ultimate direction of prayer. Performing the rituals of Hajj was physically demanding, but spiritually uplifting. We circumambulated the Kaaba, a ritual called tawaf. We walked between the hills of Safa and Marwa, reenacting Hajar's desperate search for water for her son Ismail. Each ritual had a deep historical and spiritual meaning. It connected me to the prophets Abraham and Muhammad, peace be upon them. It felt like I was walking through history, participating in a timeless tradition of devotion. The collective energy of millions of pilgrims praying together was incredibly powerful. The days spent in Mina, Arafat, and Muzdalifa were transformative. Standing on the plains of Arafat, praying from noon till sunset, was the pinnacle of Hajj. It is a day of intense supplication and seeking forgiveness. I felt so close to God, pouring out my heart in prayer. There was a palpable sense of divine mercy and presence. The experience of Hajj was unlike anything I had ever encountered. It was a journey that stripped away the superficial and brought me face to face with the essence of my faith and my own being. Section 7.1. Ummah. The profound equality of Hajj. One of the most powerful lessons I learned during Hajj was the true meaning of equality. In the sacred precincts of Mecca, all worldly distinctions vanished. People from every corner of the globe, of every race, nationality, and social standing stood shoulder to shoulder. We were all dressed in the same simple white garments. We all performed the same rituals. We all prayed to the same God. There were no VIP sections, no special treatment for the rich or famous. Before God, we were all equal. This experience of unity and equality was deeply moving. In my previous life, I had seen so much emphasis on status, wealth, and appearance. The entertainment world especially thrived on these distinctions. But here at Hajj, none of that mattered. A king stood next to a peasant. A scholar stood next to an unlettered person. A person with white skin stood next to a person with black skin. We were all simply Muslims, brothers and sisters in faith. This visual and experiential manifestation of the Islamic concept of Ummah, the global Muslim community, was breathtaking. The sense of brotherhood and sisterhood was overwhelming. People helped each other, shared food and water, and offered words of encouragement. Strangers became friends, united by their common purpose and shared faith. Language barriers seemed to melt away in the face of shared smiles and gestures of goodwill. I realized that this is how God wants us to be, united in our devotion to Him, and compassionate and supportive towards one another. This was a living example of the Quranic teaching that the most noble among you in the sight of God is the most righteous. This profound sense of equality and unity had a lasting impact on my perspective. It reinforced my belief that Islam is a universal faith, meant for all humanity. It transcends cultural and racial boundaries. It taught me to look beyond superficial differences and to see the common humanity in everyone. The Hajj experience showed me the beauty of diversity when it is united by a higher purpose. It was a powerful reminder that in the eyes of God, what truly matters is not our worldly status, but the sincerity of our hearts and the righteousness of our actions. Section 8. Sharing my path from MTV to Mecca, how Islam changed my life. After experiencing such a profound transformation, I felt a strong urge to share my story. My journey from the world of MTV to the spiritual heart of Mecca was unique. I believed that my experiences might resonate with others who were also searching for deeper meaning in their lives. So I decided to write a book. I titled it Von MTV nach Mecca in German, which translates to From MTV to Mecca, How Islam Changed My Life. Writing this book was another journey in itself, a way to reflect on and articulate the changes I had undergone. The main theme of my book is spiritual awakening. I wanted to describe how a life focused on entertainment and materialism could transform into a life centered on faith and inner peace. I shared my initial encounters with Islam, my doubts, my questions, and the gradual process of learning and acceptance. I wrote about the people who influenced me, the places that touched my soul, and the profound impact of performing Hajj. My aim was not to preach, but to share a personal testimony of finding light and guidance in Islam. I also wanted to address some of the misconceptions about Islam that are common in the West. Having come from a Western background myself, I understood the prevailing narratives. I hoped that by sharing my own positive experiences, I could offer a different perspective. I wanted to show the beauty, wisdom, and compassion that I found in Islam. The book details my personal struggles and how faith helped me overcome them. It speaks about finding true happiness not in fleeting pleasures, but in a connection with God and a life of purpose. Writing from MTV to Mecca was a deeply personal and often emotional process. It required me to revisit many moments of my life, both the glamorous highs of my television career and the quiet, introspective moments of my spiritual search. I tried to be honest and open about my journey, hoping that my sincerity would touch the hearts of readers. The book became a way for me to make sense of my own transformation and to offer a message of hope to others who might be on a similar quest for meaning, regardless of their background or beliefs. Section 9. A Message of Hope, the book's lasting impact. When From MTV to Mecca was published, the response was overwhelming and largely positive. I received messages from people all over the world. Many readers told me that my story had inspired them. Some said it encouraged them to look into Islam with an open mind. Others, who were already Muslim, found affirmation and a renewed sense of connection to their faith through my experiences. It was incredibly heartwarming to know that my personal journey could have such a positive impact on others. This was more rewarding than any fame I had experienced before. The book was translated into several languages, including English, Arabic, Dutch, and Malay. This allowed my story to reach an even wider audience. It sparked discussions and dialogues about faith, identity, and the search for meaning in the modern world. I was invited to give talks and interviews, sharing my experiences further. It seemed that many people, especially in the West, were curious about someone from a high-profile media background embracing Islam. My story offered a bridge, a way to understand Islam from a familiar perspective. The positive feedback was a great encouragement. It showed me that there is a genuine interest in spiritual matters and a desire for authentic stories of transformation. It also highlighted the need for more positive narratives about Islam to counter the often negative portrayals in mainstream media. My book became a small contribution to this effort. It was a testament to the fact that Islam is a path to peace and fulfillment for people from all walks of life. The journey was mine, but the message of hope and spiritual discovery resonated universally. The success of the book was not just about sales or recognition. For me, its true importance lay in its ability to touch hearts and open minds. It became an extension of my new life's purpose, to share the light I had found and to promote understanding and dialogue. The transformation from focusing on entertainment to finding deeper meaning was complete. My life now had a different kind of spotlight, one that illuminated the path of faith, not for personal glory, but for the potential to inspire and connect with others on their own spiritual quests. This, I believe, is a far greater achievement.